Did you see your favorite player, Ricky, committed?
Oh, God. I'm never going to live down that take.
Never will, But hey, we will all remember the close QB battle of 25,
So fucking close, man. So close to
Want to take a guess on where Ricky committed?
I haven't seen it. I don't know. Let me guess. Louisiana Monroe.
That's a good guess. That's not the same league, but about the same level.
Okay, so not the same league, but about the same level.
Yeah.
So
similar
I'm
region.
Immediately thinking the MAC, but it can't be the MAC, can it? It's not the MAC. So it's got to be, if it's not the Sun Belt, and it's not the MAC, the American? The American's better, though. Tell me. I'm not going to guess it.
Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw State? Oh, I like that for him.
I think it's the right level. Conference USA was it was the one conference you didn't name. You were around the hoop. I think that's about right. They lost their quarterback. Their coach did a pretty good job with Odom, I thought. They were 10-4 last year. They were the best team in their league. I think that's a good move for him.
I think so.
You're watching Domed in Cuse, the quick hit podcast for real Orange fans. If you love Cuse sports, hit like and subscribe.
All right, everybody. So welcome back to another episode of Domed In. Obviously, by the intro there, I think you're going to be able to guess this is going to be a football episode. We're going to do a roundup of kind of like what's happening in the portal right now. We're kind of at like phase one of the portal, right? We'll see how much deeper we get into this portal as we go along here. But kind of like phase one, and a lot of the early recruits and the guys I think that we heavily prioritized and focused have started to commit at the very least. And I think we have some more guys on the way who are visiting. We've had some guys who have visited. But I don't know how you feel. I'm pretty energized. I know, like, I've seen some stuff online of people not being so energized about what we've seen from the portal. But again, like, I think we have to always keep into context who we are and where we are in the landscape of college football and how that materializes into kind of our portal ambitions. If you look at some of the stuff about what it costs to get guys in the portal, Syracuse is not at the top of the food chain in terms of cost, in terms of being able to spend on NIL.
Yeah. And I think we were talking about it today. That there was an athletic piece written this week, kind of detailing a lot of these player values. And look, it is expensive to build a good football team, particularly if you're trying to do it through the portal. And like, it is not easy to construct a roster, especially at key positions. Like, you are going to be paying seven figures for certain positions, particularly quarterback. And like you said, I think it's not so much tempering expectations, but I think we do need to do a really good job scouting. And I think, honestly, bringing in kind of quality and quantity at positions is important, right? I think we saw it again last year. You see it around college football. Like, the teams that have the most depth and experience are winning right now for the most part. And I think that's something that we need to continue to build. And we had a lot of guys go out the door, but I think, frankly, we weren't a very good team. And so we had some guys leave. There's going to be some new guys getting opportunities. I know we haven't signed any huge names yet, but these guys are all productive that are coming in right now. And I think that's the big takeaway that I have is, like, we're going after guys that we are confident can play in football games in Syracuse.
I think all of that is great. And I think one of the videos that we sent back and forth, you sent it to me, was the T-Bob video on social media where he was kind of cooking and explaining, like, this is what it costs for guys. This is the average cost. And he was breaking it down. And, one of the things I think to take away from that is that this truly is, it's a market. And he was saying this, it's the new world of college football. It's a new market. And anytime you're in a market, I think the best teams, and people like to throw around the term Moneyball because it was a movie at one point. The basic idea of Moneyball was trying to find an edge, right?
Yep.
However you could do it was, we're going to find an edge because we financially can't compete with others. But I think what that more breaks down to, especially in football or in this case, is like any market, you want to buy low and you want to sell high.
Yeah.
Right? You want to buy low on guys that the market is maybe not appreciating. And this is where you're talking about scouting coming in, where you want to buy when the market is not appreciating, but you've scouted and you say, hey, the market isn't paying this guy anything, but they're actually worth $300,000. Or the market says this guy's worth $300,000. He's actually worth $500. So we're going to give him $500 instead of $300. And that's how Syracuse could be successful. Syracuse is not ever going to be the school. It's hard for us to compete with some of these bigger public institutions. You know, if you think about some of the schools litany across the Big Ten and kind of how many people they have on campus, a lot of these schools have 40, 50,000 people on campus. Their alumni base is much, much bigger. Their student base is bigger. Their access to funds is just better. And Syracuse isn't poor by any means, but Syracuse, just by the nature of the size of the school, will have trouble competing with the biggest of the biggest. And so that means we're never really going to be in the conversation for the top players.
Totally. Especially in football, where you need big time. Right. So,
right.
I mean,
basketball, it's a different case.
Right. In basketball, it's just a different, it's not the same number of players. You know, like, I think that my biggest takeaway, you know, kind of from that video and that article is like, I mean, just look at how quickly a roster racks up right now. I mean, if you want to have 24 good starters, it's $20 million. It's $20 million to build a good roster right now. And
at the least.
At the least. And to your point, like, I think what we've got to do a good job of, and it's scouting, it's just trying to find that edge. We've got to do a good job of identifying players that we can get at a value, right? And we need to bring in as many of those guys as we can and try and get the plus side of those guys. And I think something you and I have talked about a lot, I think I'm very committed to the production angle right now. Like, I think that is just the thing I really want to see from these guys. And I think you're seeing that from who we're bringing in on visits. There's a couple guys who are, you know, kind of high recruits. I know the tight end from South Carolina was a 5-star, just hadn't done a whole lot there. And there's one or two. I mean, even the guy from LSU was a bigger recruit, but he at least got some carries in the SEC. Like, he played for them, and that's something. We are getting guys that played and produced, and it might have been at a group of 5 level, but they've played and produced. And I think that's just a really key thing for us moving forward. Like, we can't bring in guys and have them be duds. You know, I think that I hate to point out Ricky, but we can't do that where we prioritize a guy, pay him good money, bring him in, and he's not playable, you know, particularly at a key position. And you're seeing that.
But at any position, we can't identify somebody that's, and I agree with you. I agree that I echo your stance on we want production. And then I think you also have to but I think it's a mix, right? And I think we both agree on that. It's got to be a little bit of a mix, right? Because the other thing is you got to occasionally try to take a chance on some of these guys, like the LSU running back, who was a very high recruit, you know, and was a guy that maybe we wouldn't have had access to out of high school. Yeah. Never really got a chance, has kind of moved around position to position. You know, he's been in defense, he's been a quarterback, he's just moved around, and he hasn't really found a home. And what you're betting on is you're betting on a pure athlete and you being the one to maybe make that pop. And so again, he could do the same thing he did at LSU, which is bounce around from different position, not find a home. Or you could find him a home, maybe even an area where you weren't expecting. And, you know, one thing that I think we saw from Fran last year, which I've asked for from our basketball staff, is the willingness to try things. For example, Jamie Tremble. They tried him at linebacker. And you know what? That worked.
Yeah. I think it's pretty clear now, bringing in Smith, right, the tight end. He's going to be a linebacker.
I mean, he has potential to be a high pick as a linebacker, in my opinion. Yeah. His speed pops on defense.
It would be huge if he could take a leap, because I think it still remains a big position of need for us. But regardless, to get back to your initial point, I agree. I like that we have a willingness to try things, and I think you're right. It's a mix. I think maybe last year, even the last couple of years, I think like the thing that kind of rang out to me was like some of the offensive linemen we brought in last year, right, were kind of guys who had kind of bounced around or played at bigger programs. We definitely paid them decent sums of money, and it's like, you know, there's a reason why these guys are available to a certain degree, right? And I think
But some of those guys are still here. Cam Pringle and Bertrand are still here, and maybe
Yeah.
all those guys needed was another year. So
Exactly. And some it's going to work out for. And I think it's identifying which of those guys it works out for, and then also making sure you bring in some proven guys who are plug and play, no doubters. You know you can put them on the field. You know,
I think that's it right there, right? It's the mix. It's finding that nice mix of we got to take some shots on guys because these guys that you bring in from the group of five. Let's talk about them: Cole Weaver, Ahmad Miller, Flooney. They're going to be good. I think Jartavius Flooney from Georgia State, probably of all of them, has the highest ceiling because he's a freshman and he was very, very productive at that level. And obviously he's coming over maybe with his D-line coach. But, Cole Weaver, Ahmad Miller, those are guys who are more plug and play. Chris D'Apollonia, who's coming from Toledo, again, those guys are more plug and play. There isn't a ton of upside left in those guys. Whatever we see from them next year is kind of what we're getting. Sometimes you need to take a try on some of these guys from big programs. Maybe it didn't work out the first year. Maybe it didn't work out the second year. But now you're getting them, and they're a little bit older. They're coming to a level a little bit below where they were, and maybe that helps them. I do think a lot about Kyle. Kyle was a guy you got. He did have some proven history with Ohio State, but, that year didn't end great for him. And I really think that coming down the level to Syracuse, he felt like I'm the king here. I'm not just a piece of this team. I'm the king here. And I'm hopeful that when we get some of these guys from LSU, when we get some of these guys from Alabama, whenever we get them, that some of those guys can bring that. I know not every single one of those guys is going to bring that, but hopefully that some of them can. You have to take swings on some of those guys.
I don't disagree with you. I think it's just identifying the right guys in some of those instances too, though. Right? Like, like Jackson Meeks was terrific, right? This guy was, I think, a high grade.
Georgia.
Didn't play. Like, special teamer, never got a chance to really play on offense. But we had Brad's a guy Fran obviously knew, had seen a lot of, and was like, I know this kid can play. And I think a lot of that kind of even goes back into the scouting work, though. It's like, can this kid play? Like, what was kind of the background? Like, why didn't he blossom? And I think, like, sometimes it's just he didn't get an opportunity. Like, there were other guys, and that's sometimes how the game works. So I think it's
for example, the LSU running back. If you look back at last year, that offensive line was really bad. They couldn't run the ball with anybody.
They didn't have anybody.
That's not a talent at running back issue. That's their scheme wasn't working. The offense wasn't working. Like, if you remember, it was after like the third game when they were 3-0. Brian Kelly got asked about it, and he was like, I'm tired of your – it was the Florida game, right? It was like, I'm tired. We won an SEC game at night. I'm tired of your stuff, and I'm Brian Kelly. And it was that, like, classic Brian Kelly rant where he was, like, all mad about it, and you were like, but you can't really run the ball.
No. It's like they haven't – and they haven't really been able to for a couple of years now. So, like, it's less the player, more the scheme going on down there. But yeah, man, so I don't know. I think there's some exciting guys. I really like Ahmad Miller too. Like, I think he's a nice rotational back. Like, I know his tape is against the SWAC and it's lower level, right? But looks like just like a really solid runner, right? Like, breaks tackles, is a guy you have to bring down. Is like kind of what you could take away watching him. And like, I kind of like the three-headed monster I think we're going to have at running back. And obviously there's going to be some other guys who may get some looks. And so I feel like that position is something that is a check mark. Now, I have no issues with what we have coming into the season at running back.
I agree. I've been on Twitter going back and forth with some of the fans being like, I love Juwan Johnson. Everyone's like, oh, but he doesn't have any tape. He's never played. But I was like, he played on my NCAA team, and he was actually really good for me. So, he's won my loyalty in the video game when I did an LSU dynasty. He was nice at that Wildcat quarterback. I'm nice with that Wildcat read option in the game. I tool on guys with that. I just fake that handoff, pull it with the quarterback. You think it's a quarterback? Nope. That's a second running back, and he's gone. And I use that a lot. So I'm a big fan of his, actually, from the video game. Ahmad Miller, I don't watch any of Jackson State. You and I both watch a fuck ton and a disgusting amount of college football, to be honest with you. And we watch every team. We watch group of 5 teams. We watch all of these guys. I don't think either of us watched any of him. But from some of the highlights I've seen, I kind of want to echo what I've seen, like kind of what you were saying, contact balance for me. In a weird way, I almost want to, he's like a Cam Scattaboo almost type, where like guys just hit off him, he just bounces. You know what I'm saying? It's like he just they hit him, he just bounces, and he just keeps going.
Yeah.
And it's like you kind of think you're gonna get him, and you hit him, and he just kind of like bounces off of you, and then he's like, oh wait, he's still going, and then he's got a little bit of quickness to him. You know, he's got a little bit of side to side movement, and so you know, Juwan Johnson, obviously, he's not a guy who's played really much at all. You know, he has very limited looks, but he is 5'11", 200 plus pounds. He was thought of as kind of a pure athlete on that LSU team and as a red zone guy. So I think you kind of have, you know, two guys. Ahmad Miller is 6 feet 205, according to On3, who is probably old dated, to be honest. On3 is often a lot what they go into college at. But that's two bigger backs that you have, which I like. I like that because I think a lot of the guys that were currently sitting on the roster, Hill and Coleman, the two in specific, are like little speedsters.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of address the need on top of, you know, the position, right?
Right. You let Willis go to Kansas.
Odd. That was weird, right?
Odd. I don't know. I don't have much to say on that. Weird choice. Weird choice is where I'm going to leave that. I think our room right now is better. I think we've improved in the running back room. I know people may not think that off the jump. I think these guys were handpicked to fit our system right now, and I think that's kind of key for I think next year. Running back is an important position, and we did not replace the Quinn Allen last year.
Oh, Beck just threw a dime. Sorry to interrupt, but Beck just threw an absolute dime. It's 2:18 here left. Miami takes a 17-10 lead over Ole Miss. Beck just threw a 52-yard. I mean, they just lost him. I mean, I said dime, but it was a wide open throw. Unbelievable. Excuse my ADD there for a second. I completely agree. I don't think we ever replaced LeQuint. I also think our running scheme didn't fit Willis. I'm not sure how much it fit LeQuint. He didn't really run a whole lot either. But I also didn't think our offensive line did us any favors last year. So you know, that's something that I want to see us get better. I do think that, you know, Big Byron will be in there more next year. And I would like to see us, scheme-wise, just decide to run behind him a lot. Because
that'd be good.
He was really, really good, too, at getting to that second level. I think, at least, in my scouting of Byron, I thought Byron did a really good job he eliminated the first guy and did a good job of getting to kind of like that second level, getting hands on a linebacker kind of thing. And that's the kind of thing like we didn't see enough of last year.
You know, Big Byron barely has to get his hands on anybody to create a hole. Do you know what I mean? Like literally just run behind him. Like he's huge, you know? Like,
that's kind of what I want our scheme to be next year.
it's use the huge guy, right? Yeah. Like, that's my dumb football brain there, you know, like run behind the big guy. But no, I agree. Our scheme, I don't know that has ever really fit the offensive line personnel that we have really at all. I feel like we've run a running scheme that fits like if you had a bunch of 280-pound linemen, which we don't have, but that's a different conversation a little bit. But yeah, man, I think I like this mix of backs that we have right now, and I think I feel good about going into the season. I really do.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of the linebacker position. I think I agree with you when you said earlier. You kind of checked that off for me. I'm good with it. If we made more additions, again, I'm not going to be upset if we make more additions. We make more additions. I'm a big believer doing it by committee, so as many guys as we can get in that room as possible, I'm in for. Cole Weaver, a big receiver, 6'3", 220 according to On4. I've seen 6'4", 240, 230 bandied about too. So I don't know what size is real, but whatever size is real, it's definitely big.
I think I've been seeing 6'5" somewhere too. Like he's a big kid. Like he's a big receiver.
And so again, like along the lines of like what we were talking about, the running back of like not only this position of need, but this is like the archetype of player that we need. This is that same thing with Cole Weaver. He's really big receiver. We wanted that big physical receiver to go the other side of Calvin Russell. We were hoping it was going to be Gill, who's tall and really good at jumping. So he's that big physical guy who can make the play. I love that we got Cole Weaver here. I think that's a big pickup for us.
I think this is a really nice pickup. Right, he's going to slot in as an outside receiver. Right, he can take some of the JRS snaps over there, kind of come in. I think and we needed to add, I think, another body out there. We just needed to add another guy with some experience. Right, you're going to have Russell, you're going to have Amari Gaw, you're going to have Boobie Gibson, you're going to have I'm forgetting guys, Tyshawn Russell. There's not a ton of experience with that group. I think you want a guy out there who's taking some snaps. I also think it's important to note, this is a MAC player, right? This is a guy that our defensive coordinator is probably very familiar with. You wonder if maybe that had something to do, I think this is a brain trust now, right? And I think Karras probably isn't above going, this kid can play. We were worried about him playing against him,
Yeah, my scouting tape says this kid is a problem.
Exactly. It's he popped when we were watching tape,
Yeah. Right there, I think that says all that we need to say about that one. I think we like him. He's the archetype. We needed this kind of guy, and I think we have a talented room, but I think we were missing this kind of one piece of it, and I like that we went out and addressed that one piece that we were missing. So that felt good. Another guy, the Jartavius Flooney, I think is his name. Obviously, we got the D-line coach from Georgia State, and he's going to bring with him Jartavius Flooney, who was a freshman last year. He had 13 tackles solo. He had 9 assisted for a total of 22 tackles. He had 6 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. So that's very productive for a freshman defensive tackle. And obviously, your D-line coach is bringing him, so he knows him. He feels good about him. I personally really think that this is the exact kind of piece that you want, right? It's a guy that we talked about finding the diamonds in the rough, buy low, sell high. This is that kind of guy I think you feel pretty confident we're taking a smart swing on. He's a guy whose coach came to us, and the coach obviously really prioritized getting this guy here. He was able to not only do you want him, but he's actually able to, execute on that. All around, I think that's a great ad, and it's definitely a position of need for us. So I was really happy to see that.
Agreed. I think this is clearly a good pickup. And if you look at his numbers too, I think all 3 of those sacks came in the last kind of third of the year. So it just kind of showed he was getting better, right? I think this is a kid, right? I think the big thing is we need to hit some upside swings here on these, right? And this kid's clearly you're taking a swing on this kid getting better. Obviously, he played a lot as a freshman, right? He's playing in the Georgia State's the Sun Belt, right? Not a super high level, but he's productive there, and he's playing a ton of snaps as a freshman. This is a kid you take a stab on. He's 6'1", 300 pounds. He's not huge, but I wouldn't say he's undersized to play inside.
300 pounds is not undersized at all.
No, so I think this is a great pickup. This is a savvy pickup. Your coach obviously knows him, probably recruited him there too. This is a no-brainer.
As you were saying, all 3 sacks were in November.
Yeah. Good indicator. Kid got better.
Finally, and I think this is for us the biggest one, Chris Stapalonia, he commits. That feels really good. I think for both of us, everybody was worried we didn't get any of the Toledo guys. We didn't get this guy. We didn't get that. We were getting hit up in the group chat about Kavon Sherman, right? Being we didn't get him. But we were both that was never the guy we wanted. That guy, he doesn't really make sense for our defense because he plays a very similar role to Antoine. And I think Antoine is such a stud that we don't want to be recruiting guys to his position right now. Personally, I think we want to, keep him. He's a freshman All-American, right? He's a freshman All-American, in at least in one of them.
All-American, yeah.
On 3, freshman All-American,
yeah.
And that's just a guy that I think we want to keep. And so Kavon Sherman, to me, he plays more of that kind of similar role, the thumper kind of role with Antoine, whereas Chris Stapalonia is more the green dot, run everywhere, play some coverage, do it all linebacker kind of guy. And I think getting that ad was the priority for us. So again, getting him to me is just it's a home run.
We needed a versatile linebacker, and I think it's a huge benefit to get the guy who played I think probably the key role in the middle of Karras' defense last year, right? Like this is the quarterback of the defense, right? And so I think this is a huge ad. I think this is clearly the guy that Karras prioritized from his old roster. He's like, this is the guy that I got to get. He's the guy I've got to bring with me. And this visit has been on the calendar for several days. I was kind of expecting this commitment once he came on campus, and I was pumped to see it pop up this morning. I think big addition to the defense for a lot of different reasons. But like you said, I think he complements a lot of the things that we kind of need from sort of our other linebackers, right? And I just mean like not Delorier. Like he's a thumper. He's physical. We want him playing downhill, hitting guys, like kind of not thinking about it, right? We want Apollonia to kind of be our quarterback, get people in the right spot, make sure the calls are correct. He's going to handle more of the coverage duties, tight ends, running backs. This is a big pickup, honestly. He's got 2 years.
Again, a guy that we would say fits exactly what we needed, right? Like he's the archetype of the guy that we really needed. Yeah. And that I think goes back to what we're talking about with every position group so far. Every single position group, I feel like we identified we need a certain type of guy in that. We don't just need a wide receiver. We need a big physical wide receiver. We got it. We don't need running backs. We need big physical running backs. We got small, speedy guys. We went and got it. Defensive tackle, we needed a young guy because we don't have any young guys on our roster. We needed a younger guy who can be in the system for a couple years. We got it. Linebacker, we needed that coverage all-around guy. We got it. So, just all around so far, and it's early. I really think we've done a great job so far in the portal. I think we need a quarterback, right? So we'll see.
There's a lot of guys visiting. We're in on a lot of guys right now. I feel pretty confident we're going to land somebody. I don't know how you feel, dude, but I feel like these spots are kind of closing up, and I don't know, man. We'll see. Like, I'm interested to see how competitive we are. I got to think we're offering decent money for a backup quarterback, don't you? I think we're probably offering competitive money as a backup as they would get at a lot of group of fives as a starter.
I don't think I'm worried about it. I'm just saying I think we really need one. I'm not worried about it, but I'm just making the point that we really need one.
I saw that. I was kind of looking at some of the other visits, though. I think it was the Atkinson kid who, the Mercer quarterback, I believe. I mean, if you look at the other places he's visited, and then you look at Cuse, it's like
we should be competitive.
It's like he's going to go sit behind. He's going to go be a second or third stringer at Notre Dame. He's going to go sit behind other guys. Like the opportunity, honestly, might be best at Syracuse for him. I personally,
for a lot of guys, you might play.
Right, exactly. I don't know. I'm a Taron Dickens guy. He's my guy. I do hope we land him, but I'm happy with a lot of the guys that have visited. The guy, honestly, I didn't want is the guy that committed to New Mexico State, just because the Furman quarterback. The numbers weren't great. Tape wasn't great.
The tape was bad on him. We watched some of that. That wasn't, yeah.
It was like 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, CS level. Like, I'm good on that, dude. I'm good on that. I don't need to see you throwing 13 interceptions and less than 20 touchdowns.
The tape just wasn't pretty. Because I could get over it if the tape looked good.
He's a shorts. He's big. He's a big kid. That's
he's a shorts kid. He was a shorts kid.
Right. Exactly.
Shorts. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's pretty much a roundup of kind of where our transfer portal lies at this point. I think we both feel good about what we've got, but we need more, right? And I think that's the key.
I think that's really it. I wouldn't overreact early. Like, there's 5,000 kids in the portal now. Like, we are going to bring in more guys. I guarantee you, we bring in more guys. Honestly, I'm not sure we're done with guys hitting the portal yet, to be honest, either.
We're definitely not. There's always that second round once guys start committing.
Once other guys start to realize these guys are going to play over me, like, we'll see. The thing I dove into a little bit more, and I know it's popped up on Twitter a few times. I think Mike McAllister might have even called it out. I didn't quite realize how many guys we have on scholarship at offensive line right now. And unless we have guys at the portal, while it's a position that I think we do need to bring in more talent at, it's tough to imagine us filling the roster with the limited scholarship number with more offensive line. I think we've got like 17 guys or something like that, or 18. Like, you can't carry more than that,
I think that's exactly it. I think we're filled with that position. And I think you're hoping that you get a big improvement. No?
Yep.
I think you're hoping that you get, Bertrand or Pringle or some of these guys who have been here. You hope you get an improvement from them this year that makes a big difference. No? Like, I think that's what you're hoping for.
No, I completely agree with you.
Right.
I think that's what we're banking on, right? And I think we may see, again, if it's up to me, the one thing I think you've got to figure out is center, because to me, it's just such a critical position, and I would pay for one. I really would. But if we are confident there's somebody who can do it on the roster, and we really believe in somebody, that's one thing. But I think that it's a kind of a grimy position, but it's a position that does really matter. I think we have talent in terms of some of the guys we brought in last year. I know you've talked about Bertrand, Mack. Like, there's some guys who played some decent football last year at times, right? Like, on that offensive line. The center position, we just really never had an answer after a certain point. I think we moved Joshua Miller inside at times. He was horrible. I know he's in the portal.
Yeah.
And not to bash him, he was playing out of position. He's not a center. But he went down a lot. I think he's at like Austin P. I think is where he ended up. So, like, his tape wasn't great.
Remind me as I go through this of if this guy went into the portal or not. Do me a favor on that. Khalil Stewart. Yeah. He's a freshman from last year.
I believe Stewart was in the portal, but hold on one second. Let me bring up my on-3 list.
Okay. Because we could just go through this of like how many guys we have that are really young that aren't in the portal that are here that you hope take the next step.
What are you looking at? You want me to look at
just this year, just guys, because I'm looking at last year's roster.
Okay, guys that are in the portal right now.
Yep, guys that left this year.
All right, are you ripping names or am I ripping names?
I'm ripping names to you. Tell me if they're in the portal or not.
Okay.
All right, so Khalil Stewart.
No,
so he was a freshman last year. Offensive lineman. Ted Olson.
I don't believe so, no.
Redshirt sophomore. He's on the team. Who knows if he's good? Zach Rice?
I believe Rice graduated.
Oh, is he? He's redshirt junior on the Syracuse website.
Oh, really? He was an UNC transfer, right? Maybe he's got another year.
Jackson Iak.
I do not know. This list appears to be incomplete from on-3. I have to admit, I'm not sure I am tracking this properly.
Okay, let me look because I have the whole list that we had.
Oh, here I'm back up. I'm over to the Mike McAllister side of things. Sorry, go ahead. Keep rolling.
Okay, I don't think any of those guys were on the list. Iak, Rice, or Khalil Stewart. I don't think any of those guys were on the list.
Yes, I don't see any of them. None of those are on there. There was a lot of offensive guys and defensive backs.
Yep. Skylar Harvey?
No.
Did Johnny Scatliff?
No. Honestly, the only offensive lineman I see in the portal is Miller.
Right. So Vito Shevchenko, Kadir Shepard, Jaden Mann, Matthew Hahn. Obviously, we have Big Byron, Travis Brown, Miller. Like, these are all guys, like, those are all guys who are sophomore and younger, right? Who did not hit the portal. So out of all of those guys, can we not have anybody improve? I think that's one of the things that you're going to have to do at Syracuse. We talked about earlier. What do you have to do in this new portal era? You have to be able to, buy low, sell high. You also have to make sure that your guys that stay improve and that you're able to refill from within.
100%. And I think, honestly, there's a reason why we fired the offensive line coach, right? I don't think he was doing a very good job personally. And I think Fran kind of got frustrated. And I think he's invested a lot in the lines. Like he's put a lot of scholarships into those position groups. Like he believes in building from the trenches. And I agree. I think he's completely spot on there. He's brought in a bunch of big athletic kids. We need to teach them to play football, right? Like we do, like, because we brought in kids with size. That's what he's done. He's brought in kids who are big. And he's
that's what I'm my next point. Yeah.
He didn't necessarily bring them into play right away. He brought these kids in to develop because he knows like the kids I can get at Syracuse aren't the kids who are ready to play, right? He can get the big kids who he can kind of mold if we get the right coach and develop them. But he's not he's not down in the SEC. He's not in Big Ten country, right? Like there's not 320-pound guys walking around New Jersey all around and like who are going to walk into Syracuse and be ready to play, right? Like that's just not. It's not how it works.
A majority of those guys, all those guys were freshmen and sophomores, according to Syracuse's website on the roster last year. All those guys are not in the portal. All those guys are 6 foot, 320 and bigger. 6'4", 320 and bigger. There's some 6'7", there's some 350. But like you're saying, you come in at that size, to Syracuse, we need to work on your body.
Exactly. We got to work on your body. We got to work on your quickness. Like, that's why they're at Syracuse. Everybody, like it's not to bash any of them, but it's true. Like if kids
they were perfect recruits, they'd be somewhere else. To be honest,
exactly. It's what it is, and like they're profiled, and like I think it's actually the right approach at Syracuse, right? Like you got to get these kids in, and you kind of got to. It's not sift through them, but you kind of have to a little bit, right? Like and a lot will transfer, and some guys just won't work out, but it's the nature of kind of the school that we are, and like.
You have to develop them. You have to develop them. It's the key.
It's got to develop them. And I think...
Because they're all raw. You're bringing in kids that are raw, and you need to develop them.
That's exactly what it is. They're raw, and like... I think I kind of overlooked that a little bit, just quite how much size we've brought in the last couple of years. And like now kind of looking back, it's like, I understand why we haven't been that aggressive there. It's expensive to do through the portal too. Like you watch those videos, you read that article, you're trying to buy an offensive line through the portal. You're going to be spending $5 million very, very quickly.
At least to get 4 or 5 guys, you need $5 million. And again, I still understand what you're saying of like, hey, if there's a guy at center that we could go grab, again, I'd love that. If we supplement in the portal, I would love that because even though we didn't lose a bunch of guys in the portal, we did lose Collins, Ferguson, Weatherspoon, all through graduating, right? So that's 3 out of 5 guys who were all starters last year, according to my list, are all gone for next year, not through the portal, but through graduating. So even though they weren't in the portal, they're still gone. You still need to replace them. And that's where, refilling from within comes. And you have some of these guys who you've transferred in the past couple of years, and then also some of these recruits. And has anybody developed, right? Let's see.
Yeah, totally.
But again, I think that's pretty much it. And I think that, when we look out, I think still, some defensive guys wouldn't be bad. A safety here, a defensive lineman or 2 there, a pass rusher would be great. But again, I'm happy with what we've done in the portal. A quarterback, pass rusher, safety, linebacker, some extra additions wouldn't be bad. But again, I'm happy with where we sit right as of today. And honestly, I think we have 5, 6 commits now. That's 5 commits now. I think that's more than I thought we would have on January 8th.
I agree. I expected this to be a more paced portal for us, but it's clear we've identified guys that we wanted to make sure we grabbed. And I think we thought if we could get them on campus, and frankly, like we're talking about, like if we can just kind of get them at a dollar amount that we feel good about and they're ready to commit, let's get it done. Let's get it done because we think these guys can. Right, exactly. There's no reason to wait around and wait for something else. Like, let's get these guys a good value, get them in the building, and let's keep building the roster.